Yo, what is up, people? So today I don't really have anything prepared, as always. So I decided to have like a heart-to-heart communication with you guys, whoever listens to this channel. So I've been doing our stand-up comedy for over a year. Not a year yet. September will be a year. That was like my first full set open mic. Because I did one set in 2023, and I forgot my set. I left. I was so bummed out. Took me another year to get back to it, so I don't think that counts. So in September of 2025, I'll be 1 year into stand-up comedy, where I'm hitting at least 3 to 4 open mics a week, constantly, repetition, going for it. And I'll tell you guys, like, it's been very, self-discovery journey, actually, to be doing all this, to be hitting the open mics and figuring out who I was, where I came from, what should I talk about. Those are the main things that makes a comedian, like your difference on stage, who you are, and how your aura expresses itself to these people, So I really got deep into it when I moved to Tampa. I got a job offer in Tampa. Moved to Tampa, didn't know what was happening. But then I figured out that the Tampa scene was better than the Orlando scene. Just my opinion about it. Like, Tampa, it feels like the comedians are really committed. I'm not talking about like there are great comedians in Orlando, but what I saw in Orlando was just like kind of people trying to do crowd work, like, I don't know, just really insultive crowd work, oh, how long you been together? So she's a cheating bitch. That kind of stuff, which I don't appreciate. I don't think anybody goes out, to see that in comedy. But at the same time, they're open micers, so they're figuring it out. So you cannot be like, yo, So when I moved to Tampa, I really saw like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but the vibe of Tampa in comedy was much better for me. I got accepted. I felt like I belonged. In Orlando, there is open micers who've been doing that shit for like, 5 years. They're in an open mic and they're like, yo, I'll be here for 5 years, so you better not be better than me, you know what I mean? So I didn't like that. But in Tampa, also, we had that. But anyway, let's go, we digress. So we like a year almost now into comedy. I got a couple gigs, been doing like fine, overcame all the obstacles I was in. I didn't have full sets. Now I have, I think I consider myself to have a 15 to 20 minute set, solid, which is crazy because some people be like, yo, I've been doing comedy for 10 years and I have my tight 5. That's all I have. I'm like, yo, I don't even know. I cannot like explain it. Like, why you have this tight 5 and not much? It must be on you, bitch. Whatever, You must be aware of the dumps in the hole, the holes on the road that you're gonna fall into it. For example, I got very much into comedy. I had this sushi job where I work at the sushi place. And I kind of started getting away from people to really focus on writing jokes and all shit like that. I don't know if I distanced myself from them, but the result was kind of a little group came together and got me out of the restaurant, So I went jobless for like 2 weeks and it hurt me financially, And I've been there before where I'm like opening up and oh, let's follow the dream and, put everything on the line kind of shit. And I know a lot of people must be like doing this because it compels you that, oh yes, let's do it, man. I mean it. I'm full. I'm all in. But, safety is not a choice, I think, in this situation. So you got to make the best out of like your spirit and your strong connection to your higher self to overcome these situations because they're not easy, man. They're not easy, boo. And what I think is like, what is the exit when you're artist and you want to make it? What is the exit? How do you make it? How you get out of the open mic scene as a stand-up comedian? How you get out? Like me, I have a book published that is like selling almost 1,000 copies, but still it would be like 2 years now that I published this book. And I cannot, live off royalties or anything like that. So I gotta be like, I want to keep my writing career going, my stand-up career going. At the same time, I'm kind of paying like on my own money to make that happen. So, when it comes to this is, my social life is kind of gone. All people that I hang out with are like comics, and comics are very like either they're cool, but they're selfish at the same time because they gotta get their shit going. Nobody's like naive about that. So you're kind of alone in this spot. You gotta be aware of that, like, because I don't have like many friends now. I have like 2 or 4 people that I count on that I can reach, and they understand me. That I built this friendship over 10 years now. But I don't have much. Like, I'm not connecting deeply with people because I don't want like to get off the path as well. So you're like, oh shit, yeah, can't go out. They invite you, no, you're not going. You focus. You gotta be open mic. Being an open mic sucks. If you bring in visits, like people with you to the open mics, depending, unless it's a very nice open mic, it kind of sucks because it's rough. The atmosphere sometimes is negative. The host sucks. Like, one thing that you notice when you do open mics, like if the host of the open mic suck, the open mic is gonna suck too, man. There's no way out of it. The host contaminates everybody in the crowd with his negativity, his bullshit. I've been to many open mics, and this is like, I think, a scar that I have from Orlando. In Orlando, like, you see many hosts, they're like, oh, you guys came from the open mic? And there's a good crowd, like 20 people. They're like, oh shit, I don't know why you guys are here, but since you're here, I recommend you not to have high standards because these comics, they're starting, so they kind of suck. Like, what are you doing? So, what am I talking about, host, by the way, whatever. So these environments, they're kind of tough to be in and to bring people. Also, you want to network with the comedians. If you bring somebody, you kind of gotta give attention to them, because I gotta tell you, no one that is not a comedian understand comedians. Like, they're wild people. They talk a lot of shit. Some of them are racist. Some of them are like, fucking bad shit crazy. And if you're not a comic that understands, like, where is this guy coming from, you're gonna be freaked the fuck out. So you gotta be aware of that. And with the financial thing, is like, I've known dudes, like, stand up, basically, I think for you to get paid is like a bitch, because you're gonna work some years to get a solid 5 to 10 minutes, and that does not pay you. You go do spots, so you spending money, like as I did. Like, I went to do 10 minutes a spot to 15 minutes a spot. The most money I make was $40. But I was like, yeah, I gotta get my stage time in. If I do this, I'm gonna connect all the jokes. I have my set. That's the kind of grind you gotta be, into it. Because you're gonna drive 2 hours to do 15 minutes. And there's a nice crowd. There is the crowd. So you kind of hook for the job. But at the same time, you'll be like, dude, shit, all that, like, I spent 40 of the 40 I make in gas, and I have to pay for my food and my drinks and the goddamn thing. So it's just kind of like, also, like, again, it disencourages because you see a lot of people that have like a 401k going on, some retired military people, just like surfing, going to the open mic to talk some bullshit while you're trying to write the jokes, So whatever. That's what I'm talking about, So you're willing to do this because that's the long grind, Like, social media is helping. You go viral. It kind of gets attention to you. But for you to really make a living of art, wow, boy. That wasn't in the description when you sign up with the gift. Like, when they give you the gift when you're coming down to earth, you'll be like, yeah, man, give me a gift so I can write shit out. Can you make it in the business, though? Because you can write that, must be good. And then you might think, like, oh, if it's good enough, it's going to get it, right? It might get it, but how long it will take you to get that? Years, probably. Because I think, like, there's a poem by Charles Bukowski, which is like the roll of the dice. It's that famous poem, and it's kind of viral on the internet. Like, what is it again? Oh, my God. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. So it's like a full poem from Charles Bukowski that he describes the kind of grind that you gotta be into it. But in the end, you're gonna experience laughter as nobody else ever had, because that would be one kind of like from your soul, boy. But also, when I think about that poem, is Charles Bukowski died, and he wrote that poem in the 70s, and I discovered that poem in the 2010s. So that poem survived 40 years for me to find it and to be touched by it. And I wonder, like, God damn, man, like, how long it would take for your stuff to touch people like that, you know? So it's a commitment, it's a journey, you gotta embrace it, and you gotta be aware of the downfalls that comes with it, because till to this moment, I'm still like, sometimes I have, you know, really down moments where I'm like, why am I doing this, bro? But you leave it to the higher power, but be aware, it's not gonna be easy. And I don't know my point with this, but you gotta find another solution than being like, oh my God, 5 years into stand up and still an open mic. Fuck! You know, that's something that you gotta really think about. Like, are you really? Like, because, bro, if you're 5 years into open mics, all your friendships are like comedians now, you know, which is crazy. But they're open micers too, so I don't know. Some point we might come together. Some people, you know, stand-ups, they make it when they 10 years in, they make a great living after. So I don't know, to each their own journey, I guess. So whatever, just want to have this open heart talk. I feel like you guys gonna understand me, because the iceberg effect, you guys know, right? Oh, Steve Jobs started Apple on his garage. How many dudes are on a garage right now doing shit they thought is gonna be, you know, the famous next thing? It never happened. You never hear about them. So, gotta be, you know, a little centered, but also positive and optimistic. Who knows? Anyways, see you guys next time. Thank you for listening to these shreds. It was amazing to put this out there. Areas.